Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are joined by the starting punter for the Pittsburgh Steelers, 2021 7th round draft pick out of Georgia Tech, but more importantly, Deke, as we've talked about, if you play punter for the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the prerequisites, it seems, is you got to be a Ray Guy Award winner, and he's definitely that as well. So, spinning the block, joining us again for the second time in his career, man, Pressley Harvin.
Yo, what's good, man?
Man, what's the word, bro? How have you been, man?
Been good, man. All is well, man. Just real slow since we don't got no games going on right now, bro. But, all has been well, though, man. Just got out of this mini camp not too long ago.
Yeah.
Offseason is looking good for us, man. Just excited to get back to work in Latrobe later next month.
Man,
just waiting on it, man. Just keep working.
See, the fact that you said you excited to get to Latrobe, whoo, boy, you a real one right there. I don't envy you. I don't.
Look, man, I'll tell you.
Is it different for special teams then?
You said I'm excited to get to Latrobe. I'm like, Lord, why you?
I mean,
this is a family-friendly show, Pressley. This is family-friendly. Don't come up here talking all that. Hey, man, this is craziness, man.
I mean, man, Latrobe isn't that bad, man. Like it's a smaller college, and yeah, we are away from home, but I mean, you don't get nowhere else where you can really still get a chance to, be around guys that you don't know, be around guys you do know, get to know more people, and also you got the fan base out there. It's, when it's game day, it's good and all because it's during the season, but we don't really get that, one-on-one time with fans as much. So, just being able to be in an environment where it's just all on one accord and, just all working together, just trying to get ready for the season. That's honestly the most exciting part. Now, yeah, I'm not excited to be away from home. I got 2 dogs in the house, but, sometimes you got to give sacrifices up to, be able to hold that trophy up at the end of the year. So hopefully this one is going to be the year for that.
I like the way you're talking. Tell me if I'm off on this. I don't know if I heard this before, but do the special teams players like golf during training camp? Is that why it's not as bad? Am I off on that?
Oh, man. I'm gonna have to plead the fifth on that
one. Okay. That's crazy. I see why he's excited for training camp.
That is crazy. He said, I think to go play me on. What was little Arnold Palmer
course? Were the linebackers golfing at all?
All I'm gonna say is the LB didn't have more time on the schedule.
There is a good bit of time to where we have a lot of free time on our hands. As specialists, we don't kick every single day, but outside of practice and stuff, when we get our work in and, we're done for the day, if it's still early, we'll try to get out somewhere or try to play on the day we got off or something like that. So, we plan on going up there like a day or two early. We're trying to see if we can get a tee time somewhere out there because it is some really nice courses.
No, facts.
And I played that Arnold Palmer course here last year. And it was really nice. But I'm a lot better this year at golf than I was last year, so it should be more fun. Just broke 100 for the first time last week on Monday.
Let's go. Hey,
I'm getting there, man. I'm excited. I just know every day ain't gonna be my day when I get out there.
Ain't that the truth, man? Hey, you just try to be a little bit better the next day than you would the previous day. That's how I look at it on that golf course, man.
Yeah. Hey, you only get better the more you come back.
Big facts, man. So shoot, man, with it being, the offseason for you guys right now, man, have you done anything in terms of like traveling or anything exciting for yourself personally?
Yeah, man. Me and my girl, this was probably about 2 months ago now. We went to Frankfurt, Germany. She used to live there, actually.
Big time.
So she actually,
I see you.
Yeah,
Let's go.
She actually went to high school there. Her dad is like pretty well known into the automotive industry and he had a job over there. And she wound up graduating from high school in Germany and then coming to Georgia Tech where we met.
Nice.
So, it was a chance to, go to Europe for the first time for me because that's the first time I've been over there. But at the same time, see a little bit of her history, and where her family and all, where she really kind of gotten herself to where she is today because of school and stuff like that. So, it was a good time. We did that for a couple of days. Then we went over to Paris. We took a train ride. I think it was like 3.5 hours to Paris. We were there for 5-6 days. Man, I ain't walked that much in my life ever. Bro, that city is.
They say it's all you do is walk. That's what they say. Yeah.
All you gotta do is walk. Like public transportation is good, and the subways were good. The bus system, Ubers, and all. Man, no, the traffic was absurd. I think we walked 65 miles. Or like watch tractor.
Whoa! What?
Yeah, in like 5 days, 5-6 days there. So.
Yo.
Yeah, we just got up every morning, just walked to some random spots, saw a whole bunch of different stuff around the city. It was a real good time though, man. We was there when it was 70, 75 every day, so it was still really nice weather too. Yeah, because I know it's hot right now over there. So, we got our time in earlier. Did a couple of wedding trips here and there during the off-season. Just got back from Kenny's wedding last weekend.
Shout out to KPA. Let's go.
Yeah, shout out to KP, man. That's my dog. He get out there on that field. He do the same thing that I try to do, man. Just trying to win a game. So,
big facts.
Just being able to, be around guys and being around Kenny and Amy and his new wife. And, we got a good friendship with them from me and my girl too. And, that's just another relationship I love to build because ain't nobody else to be best friends than with the quarterback,
Ain't that the truth, man?
Because we're all in the game at the same time.
It's true, man. Absolutely, man.
Yeah, that's something that we harp on. And, we just want to be around the guys, be vocal in the locker room and, just be able to do stuff like that and see stuff like that too. That's the best day of their lives. Yeah. And, being able to be there firsthand to see that, it was a huge honor. But it was also just a fun time, man. Real good time.
I like that right there, man. And that is, man, when you talk about that Steelers family, man, that is what you get with that, Just being around 100%. Dudes, man, you start to build them off the field relationships, man, where it's like, we're no longer just teammates and coworkers. Like, you my brother.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's real, man. That's real.
Yep.
Now, you just finished up your third season of going through OTAs and stuff like that now, man, getting ready to start into it. You know what I mean? So you ain't young anymore, man. You've been doing this thing. So how was this go around for you, man, at OTAs? And what's your confidence level like getting ready for this upcoming season?
Yeah, man. I mean, hey, I'm trying to always try to put myself forward in the best ways. And, I changed my work ethic a little bit this off season with, how does the punting training go? Going into my third year now, I do realize I don't have to kick as much. So, just trying to do yes. Yeah, like try to do it. Try to kick in the off season just like it is the regular season a little bit more of, getting in the regular 17-week flow of just, kicking 2-3 times a week. And just, I've always been big on being with my long snapper. So me and Christian are in the facilities just about every other day, every day still. I mean, I'm in Pittsburgh right now. I could have did it live in the office, but didn't know where I was going to be at. We have those capabilities now.
We're expanding. We're growing. All right. Eventually, we're gonna get to the point where you'll be in studio. All right. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Yeah.
At some point, man. At some point, I can't wait to see it. Definitely can't wait to see it. I hope I'm one of the first ones on there.
Hey, absolutely, man. Absolutely. You definitely gonna have an invite. 100%, man.
Yeah, facts. But it's been pretty good though. This offseason has been well. We got a lot of new guys in special teams this year too.
Yeah.
So getting to be able to see those guys, especially in the OTA setting and stuff, is more, a little bit more laid back to where everybody can kind of be more vocal and help on the field instead of worrying about, game time or game reps or, game planning and stuff like that. So, it's that time of the year where it's kind of like an in-between thing. You're ready to get to it, but at the same time, you feel like your work's not fully done yet before you get to camp. So, still definitely on the grind. But, I've definitely found strides in myself. I've definitely got my confidence up, especially now from 2 years ago, especially too, man. Like that rookie year it's real stressful. And, mine had a lot of outside stuff. Yeah, it is. Mine had a lot of outside stuff, but, looking back on all of that now, I wouldn't have wanted to change anything about it. I told myself I'm going to get exactly what I need to out of whatever happens to me. And that's definitely what I've gotten. My motivation is there always, but the discipline always has to take over because, some people sometimes don't realize, but, as an athlete in the NFL, like it's kind of year round.
No, it is. It definitely is, man.
And sometimes, like I'm trying to tell my girlfriend, I'm like, girl, look, I love you to death, but I can't keep going to all these workout classes with you because it's just not the thing. I'm like, bro, she's taking me to the boxing classes and stuff.
Nah.
I've never really done that before.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? Let me just get some extra cardio in, and I started going more and more. I felt better the more I've gone, but I'm like, man, like it's not the same type of workload. So and I try to tell her too, I'm like, hey, you work out for fun, but I work out as a job. Yeah. And I try not to make it seem like that. And that's why I try to break it up a little bit and, do other type of workouts and stuff that you work on muscles and stuff that you aren't using as much. So, just trying to break the norm up a little bit, trying to do different stuff. Definitely been playing a lot more golf than I was last year too. And, just trying to cherish.
That's also still good. I mean, that's still good for you, man. So that's nothing wrong
yeah,
with that.
I mean, it's
absolutely
the terminology and everything about golf and punting or kicking in general is just very, very similar. So it kind of keeps me sane and keeps me whole of, I already kind of know what I'm doing wrong as soon as I hit that ball with the club. It's the same way kind of like when it comes off my foot.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, hit it off the toe or something.
Yeah, it's all the same thing. Hit inside on it, you hit outside of it. The ball basically does the same thing coming off the foot as well. So, it's something that I definitely use for a mental side more than just a pleasure side out of golf, because it does make me, think pretty critical of what I need to do before a shot and, how am I going to be able to hit it and stuff like that. Basically, same stuff that you would see on a football field with a punt. And, just being able to find something that also keeps you in that, like, mental block zone of, like, just getting after it and just being mentally focused, just doing small stuff like that. I've been trying to, get myself more mentally prepared than physically, because I know the physical attribute will take care of itself as long as you put the work in. But that mental side, going into year 3, it's always a big year for people, and that's where you really see big leaps in careers.
No, facts.
But, I mean, all of that boils down to just how much can you focus on it and what are you willing to do? That's all Coach T says. It's not about all of the talents all of us got, because we wouldn't be in the building if we didn't have that. It's about what you're willing to do to win a game. What are you willing to do for your brother? Stuff like that. So I'm more focused on the what are you willing to do with what I already do in the game of football, and just, trying to find ways I can just make myself better with that. And, we'll be a better team on special teams for sure for that too.
No, big facts, man. And boy, when you said it's not what you're capable of, but what you're willing to do, I started having flashbacks. I said, boy, that's Coach T. God, dog, that's Coach T, man.
I mean, look, man, like I'm into my 3rd year now and saying the same terminology stuff that you said. It's stuff that heard when you were playing. It's all this. He's still the same person. Like, I try to tell people that all the time. Like, you know exactly what you're getting with Coach T.
No, 100%, man.
He wants you to feel that.
Yeah.
I think that presence also, he wants us to be the same way. He wants us to show them exactly what they're going to get week in and week out. What can you do routinely? He literally just says, routine players make plays routinely. That's all it is. You just do that, man. You make a life out of this thing for as long as you want.
Yeah, just do this part every single time consistently, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. That consistency is still trying to get there, man. But, I'm extremely excited for this year. 3rd one, you get into that 3rd year, I can kind of get a flashback to college. And I'm like, I kind of remember going into my junior year and trying to tell myself, I'm like, all right, it's got to start being that push for myself. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly where I'm at. And all I got to do now is just really put my head down and just narrow down on what really matters. And, try to just get back into that same reflection of myself 4 years ago, trying to be into that now. And, just put my best foot forward, man. Just doing it not for myself, man. Just doing it for the team, doing it for the organization, the fans, everybody that's out there that's under that Steelers umbrella. That's all I care about.
Let's go.
Now going back, because I think the last time we had you on, it was like the 1st or 2nd week in your rookie year. Could you talk about that transition? Because now you got perspective. You've been in the league a few years. That transition from college to NFL. Like, am I missing anything here? Like, is anything actually changing for you as a punter? Because it's just the ball and then I guess the hash marks, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything we're missing?
Are different. So, I mean, the field of play has changed just a little bit. But the biggest thing is really like the mental side of it. Like you said, it's the same thing. And, if you can punt a football, you can be capable enough. It's just how focused can you be to be able to do it on the highest level instead of the amateur level. And that's like the one thing that I've learned over time. When you're an amateur and you're trying to be professional and go to that next leap, you try to do something until you get it right every single time. But when you're in the NFL, especially as a specialist, I think that changes from trying to do it right every single time to try to do it consistently until you can't get it wrong at all. Mm-hmm. And like, it sounds the same, but
it's different.
It's actually different. It's a little bit different because, I go out and I can hit 500 punts in a week and when I'm in high school and college, but in an NFL sense, for a workload sense, I know I can't do that. So I know my reps are going to be more minimal. And at the same time, I also have to get better work in. So, by doing that, you have to get your consistency up. And, that's like the one thing that I've been really trying to focus on is, how can I do this to where it's consistent every time? And, if I have one rep where it's a little skewed or, something's off a little bit, it's always about like that next rep. That's what Coach T tells us all the time. I mean, people don't understand it. Like, it's not an easy job already by itself, but also when you're in a practice sense, usually the special teams period is when everybody, is chilling and stuff. Yeah, it ain't the same. Honestly, I feel like the special teams periods are some of the most intense periods of the practice because of like what it is. Like we harp on starting fast. That starts with special teams during the game. We start with coming out of the half fast. Like we strategically put special teams periods in certain parts of the period, in certain parts of practice for a reason. And Coach T is literally standing maybe a half a yard to a yard away from me every rep. And yeah, I mean, he's going back and forth and making it competitive. And, we have another punter in the building, Braden Mann, which is a good friend of mine. And me and him have been going neck and neck with punting and competition and stuff since high school. And this goes back to like
both of y'all Ray Guy Award winners, right? If I remember correctly, yeah.
And we brought in a bunch of Ray Guy Award winners for tryouts, right?
Man, yeah, that's like 3 or 4 at a time. Man.
Man, we done brought too many trophies in. They started getting discredited up here.
He said, hold on. What year is that from? That don't count, man. I ain't trying to hear that, man.
Man, hey, it's an accomplishment. But in Coach T's eyes, man, he always finds something to kind of get under our skin. And he always brings up those trophies. And he's like, all right, which one's going to be more viable today?
Which one's going to be shiny?
But man, it's competition. And, that's what our business is. It's like it's in a special teams period. I try not to view it as competition, but that is exactly what it boils down to. And we don't really get competition like that during the year. Usually when you get in the year, if all of us are healthy, it's just us three. You don't have any other punter, kicker, or snapper in the building, so you kind of feel a little bit different. And you can you're the guy, but you also don't get that same competitive edge that everybody else gets in a practice setting.
I literally was going to ask you about that, bro, because I'm like, you have legit 1v1 right now, whereas for us on defense, we never get the 1v1, but it's like year long, you always have somebody that you bumping with. You got someone that you competing against, but like you said, for you go from you and Braden, y'all are at it right now. But in a couple weeks, and it just chills.
I like that comparison to golf because it is down to only you though, because like you competing with other linebackers, you're going up against like linemen, running backs, and whatnot. Yeah. It's just literally Pressley Harvin.
If he messes up,
he does. That's how golf is.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, like punting is an individual position for sure. Yeah. Like it's a lot different than any other position on the field. I mean, kicking is also the same way. And I also think the same thing as a long snapper because
no, it is.
I mean,
it definitely
you
is.
Go back to that first.
Game
last year when we were in Cincy. I mean, you take the snapper wound up tearing his bicep or something like that in the game. The whole perspective of the rest of that game changed
everything,
and came up to the last regular time period play for a blocked field goal to send it to overtime. And that's stuff like that happens so fast. Yeah. But at the same time, you just got to go back and think I am the only guy at this point in time. So it really is me versus me. So it's like, I have to keep myself accountable and just, stay on top of myself and just be on my P's and Q's, because sometimes when it is just you don't see the sense of, okay, maybe I need to, fix this up a little bit or something like that. You don't see it as fast sometimes. But, Braden is a damn good dude, man. Like I've been going against him since like 2014 or 2015 in high school, and I never got the actual opportunity to actually, get to meet him, spend time with him and stuff like that, and be friends outside of just competition.
Yeah.
And, me and him, we've grown our relationship more because of, him being here. But, I told myself I can't have harsh feelings about stuff like that, because it's not something that, I don't view as, I'm not welcome here. I don't want to be, the guy here or anything like that anymore. Like, that stuff is, that's clutter. That's all that stuff is. Like I told myself, like if I wanted somebody to be competition for me, I honestly wouldn't pick anybody better than him.
Okay.
Because he's a guy that I've always been around and I've always been competing against. I mean, I competed against him before camp last year when we were in Tennessee at a camp. Both of us plan to go back to that too. But, I told myself, man, my whole career, all it is based on competition and stuff like that. But it is 1v1. It is you and you own it.
Oh, yeah. I like that, though,
you
bro.
don't have,
I like that.
Yeah, and that's just the mentality I'm always tried to have for myself. And I've been trying to just continue to just get that there and just develop it more and more. Like, it's mano a mano. I'm all I got. I'm the only one that on the team right now on a 53-man roster that knows how to punt a football well enough to win a game.
Big facts.
So, I have to have that same mentality for myself, when you're in a competitive sense too. Because sometimes with kicking and with punting, what people don't understand is the harder you try, the worse that ball's most likely going to be.
So
like
it's
just like golf.
Jeez.
It's very similar. Like, you try to get behind a shot too much in a golf swing, and the next thing you know, you slice the hell out the ball. A punt's going to do the same thing.
Okay.
You got to be in the groove.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's and that's why I try to like explain this sometimes to people, because it's more than just kicking the ball. Like you really got to have yourself mentally prepared enough to, when you're in an NFL game, your anxiety and all of that's going to be through the roof. Number one, you're going to be anxious. I mean, it's a football game. You got 60,000+ people looking at you. Yeah. But at the same time, I can't be an amped up linebacker ready to go blitz a gap and kill somebody in that gap. Like I can't have that same energized.
Snap
I can't have that same
however many plays before you can come back. Yeah.
Like we literally work on, like, when I was in high school for a little quick throwback, right? So I still had the same kicking coach, but when I was in high school and I was transitioning over when I was going to Georgia Tech, we did small stuff like running onto the field from the sideline while training, like small stuff like that gets you in that zone of like, all right, look, I'm in the game. I know I got people watching and all of that, but you got to have the mental capacity to be able to concentrate and focus on just punting, and you can't have your heart rate too high. So like we would literally like do maybe a small like jog or something like that. He'd make you jog onto the field, get ready for a punt, but your heart rate's elevated. So you have to get yourself back down to be able to, get back into that right comfortable power zone.
So you relax and lose,
Yeah, like I try to say that, smooth is fast, but fast is it smooth. And that's like the terminology I like using with my feet and like my footwork, stuff like that, because you're off a little bit, your foot's, you're a half a step longer than your regular stride is when you're about to punt. That punt's not going to fly the same. So it's very, very critical of like being able to stay in the game, but also get my heart rate to a certain point to where it's not too elevated to where I'm trying too hard. And the next thing you know, it's not there. So, it's just small stuff like that. You really just try to hone in on the off season, man, and, just let that off season work show when the season gets here.
Dude, I like that, though. And shout out to the detail as well, man. I was over here thinking to myself, I know they always talk about that drop. You got to have your drop right, because that's a big part in terms of just, making sure the placement's the same, the lace is the same every single time. But hearing even the little part of, man, I got to make sure my heart's not too elevated when I get out there, because that's going to make me take half a step more than what I'm accustomed to doing. And that's the difference. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that critical, man. And that's why, for us, it is more of a mental side than it is physical. Because I've been punting since I don't even remember. I think I was in 6th or 7th grade when I started punting.
So that's always been like your main thing. Like you never had. Oh, wow. Okay. Shout out.
So, well, I played other positions. 7th grade, I played center. When I was in middle school, it was my first year playing middle school ball.
What's your pancake game like, man? Was you pancaking people or not, man?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
I can pull the tape up. I can find it.
There it is. Shout out to us high school offensive lineman. I was a tackle, bro. We ain't tripping, bro. We ain't tripping at all, man. Pancake game on 1,000.
Oh, for sure, man. So, I got a love for linemen, bro, because that was my first position when I played football. I was over 150 pounds as a kid. They're like, yeah, your big behind can't be running the ball.
Let's go.
You got to play the line. So I started in the trenches. That's why I'm like, hey, I got a love for the offensive line. I love when they get down and get dirty. Yeah, man, I love all of that. But, over time, I just told myself, I'm like, look, if I got a shot to go to the league, I know I ain't going to be more than 6 foot tall. So I know I ain't going I know for a fact I wasn't going as a tight end when I got to high school. They transitioned me over to that 8th grade and then got the freshman year, played a little bit of tight end on B team and JV, I'm sorry. But I got moved up for punting as soon as the offseason started when I got there as a freshman to varsity as the second string guy.
Okay.
So and that was the last year I actually didn't start as a punter. And that was the year that I really told myself, like, hey, he's graduating next year. If I really want to do this, it's going to be now. But I'm going to have to, figure out how I'm going to do that and all. Started getting training for it, man. And, I never really looked back ever since that point. I just fell in love with it because it was so different and it is unique because, you got teams out there, you see high school and college ball all the time. Special teams will literally kill that game for them.
Bro,
Their
you
offense
will get up out of a stadium behind special teams. Absolutely.
You will literally run somebody out of a stadium in the NFL like that now too. You get one block punt during the game. Most likely you win that game now.
Yeah.
So special teams has always been something that like I felt was always slept on a little bit because when I was growing up, coaches always focused on your primary position but never a secondary position. So, when I was doing tight end and I was like, look, I don't think it's going to go that far. And I had to have that conversation with my parents. And we all had the same decision about, just going and trying to get training for it till we can go with that. Best decision of my life. I don't think I would have done that any differently in the timing too of, when did I start punting and stuff either because, I'm a bigger guy and that's not something that's easy on my body and it's not easier to do, especially when you didn't have, I don't come from a background of soccer either. So,
okay. Yeah, that is different because a lot of them do have that.
Yeah. Like a lot of specialists are former soccer players. And usually in high school, that's when they make the chance or the decision to, figure out if they're going to do football or soccer. So I didn't have that. So knowing that, I also had to, I had a clean slate to start off on and, it made it work and, I'm here today because of that. But, looking back at it, man, like I know I've been doing this for a while. So that's the confidence that I have to continue to have for myself. I've done this at a high level on a collegiate level before. And I just tell myself, if I can just continue to just get better every year, I know I don't play the numbers game either. Like, I know people might be mad about that because I don't want to average a certain point or whatever. Like, yeah, everybody wants to have a certain average, but I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about our net average because
41.1 is varsity. Let's go.
Hey,
you varsity.
Hey,
you know what time it is.
Yeah, over 40. Like, we had a 41 or 42 baby. Yard.
Facts.
Yeah, we had a 41 or 42 yard net last year, and that's. If we get that to 45, that's elite. Like, there's not many teams last year that had that. And you look back at what teams had that and how far they got in the season, then you look at it and you're like, okay, this adds up. So, it's all stuff like that, man. Like, I'm like, how can I just make myself 1% better every day? Because at some point, those 1% add up. And that's been the mental block for me, too, because sometimes, just like the game of golf, you take a step back out there. You might not shoot your normal. You might shoot really trash. But those days are needed because those are like the growth days.
That trash day was better than your trash day a year ago.
Absolutely.
100%. If my trash days are consistently getting better, I'm getting better. Yeah. And that's what I've been seeing more and more and more of. And like, for example, too, like I put it like this too. Like for kicking in golf, it kind of goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand in so many ways. The biggest one that it goes ways for me is, it's that all eyes on you moment. Only you can control what happens next. Control what you can control. It's like one thing that I've always harped myself on in my life, especially like when I lost my dad and my grandma my rookie year. I didn't really know how to feel about that stuff. Like, I knew they both were sick and all of that. And, a lot of people don't have that opportunity to have those last days. Rather they were limited or rather it was more months than you thought it was. When stuff happens to people suddenly, they never get that opportunity. And that was the one thing that I told myself. I was like, look, God blessed me to get that. And my dad and my grandma was able to control every single thing that they did up to that point in a very well manner. I was like, I can do the same thing. And I just told myself, I don't have to do all the stress, do all of the worrying and stuff. All I got to do is worry about what I do and control what I can. If I can't control it, there's no reason for me to worry about it. All I have to do is adapt to whatever that happened and just figure out what to do next. And, that's like the mental block that a lot of athletes, especially NFL athletes or any professional athletes, man, it's hard to do that sometimes because it is a lot of stress in this. It is a lot of anxiety. It's a whole bunch of stuff. Like mental health is something that's really, really talked on. And the biggest thing for my mental health I chose to do was just only worry and control about what I can. First of all, if I can't fix it right now, I'm definitely not finna worry about it. Like it's just kind of like a 9-to-5 job. When you get off those hours and you got somebody to text you, you ain't answering that phone until tomorrow. You know that.
Them problems alone,
so
man.
why would I do that with my life problems? I'm only gonna put my focus and my time and energy into something that I can worry and do right now. That I can fix right now.
Now I love that mindset, man.
Ever since I've done that, I've looked at life a lot differently. I looked at football stuff differently. I look at my relationship differently now. And it's just, I know I'm not going to always have the answers. I know I'm not going to always be perfect. But as long as I know in the moment where I have the opportunity to do something, if I do it in a positive way, that's all I can control. So there's no reason to get upset about other stuff. All of that stuff, that's clutter. Like I said earlier, that's just all of that stuff is clutter. Because on the football field, we're literally evaluated every single rep we take. But you can literally kill yourself mentally by thinking about stuff like that.
1000%.
And being really nitpicky and stuff. It's always about the next rep. And that's what Coach C tells me. That's what that's what I really tried to, taught myself on this offseason of just making more of a mental game than anything, because the mental shows itself, especially when it's like week 12 during the season. And it's like bye week was week 6, and here we are. We got like 14 games straight, and you're like, man, my body's tired, my mind is tired. That's that mental block, and that's what I've been trying to get myself to this off season. Before that would be able to happen during the season, and just grow from that, and fight through that.
No, dude, that's major though. Like I said, the fact that you've already been able to come to peace with that type of mentality to handle all of the clutter, to handle the adversity that comes with being a professional athlete, let alone dealing with the personal adversity of losing a parent and a grandparent. That's a lot to handle. But when you're able to be like how you are, just hearing you, man, it's like, bro, the growth that you have in your voice, man, like that's dope as heck, man. Most people don't get that until they leave the game, man. And some of these dudes still struggle to find it afterwards. But the fact that you're already there like that, man, that's major, bro. Like, definitely keep that.
Yeah, like I would have loved to learn it a different way than the circumstances that had happened. But I told myself, man, God makes everything happen for a reason. And it's supposed to be that way. So, losing people like that in your family, especially that close, because it was immediate family, that can make or break a person sometimes. And, I told myself, I'm like, look, I literally put so much time and effort in years of my life to be able to get here. In the first year, 2 of the closest people to me passed away. There was a reason for that. And, I truly feel like, especially for my dad, he definitely hung around a little bit longer just to be able to get up to that game when we played Tennessee.
That was major
2 years ago.
Man.
I got complete utmost respect for the Rooney family and the organization for that, because that was life changing, because if that wouldn't have happened, I don't know if he would have been able to get to a game that year. And that was one of the first games he's seen since my last game in college. And that was a while since then, because right after that game, he started getting sick. We started noticing he was going downhill a lot faster. Yeah. But, man, I told myself, I'm like, look, I know I'm supposed to be here now because of that. And I know that was going to make me stronger before it was going to hurt me. And I just told myself, look, you got to give yourself time to cope. Like sometimes we especially as men, because this is one of the last days of Men's Mental Health Month.
Talk about it.
Man, I'm telling you, like, one thing I've learned as a man, it is not a bad thing to be vulnerable. It is not a bad thing to open up. It ain't a bad thing to talk. Man, it's real though, because we've always been raised to put on this hard face of being tough, but tough ain't always just looks. Tough is crying too. Yeah. Tough is, going through tough times of losing 2 relatives 2 weeks away from each other. That what makes a man tough. That doesn't, tear you down the way it's supposed to, but all we got to do is just continue to advocate for, things to make people better, man. That's all I try to do. Like, I know I'm here for playing football for the Steelers, but that's definitely not all I want to be known as. Right. So, I've always been trying to get myself in the community. I'm on the social justice board here for the team. And, I got a camp coming up with the American Kidney Fund next month that I'm supposed to be going to. And, just trying to get back to the community and, doing stuff because I know, matter of fact, I got a funny story. So I went to the dentist yesterday to get filling for an old cavity that I had to get redone, right?
All right. I like how you taking care of it now. There it is.
Hey, taking care of it now before I got a toothache. You got to do.
That might be a reminder for me to go.
Salute you.
I might need to go.
I got on some dark shades walking out. I was right by Pitt's campus, and this lady and her kid was walking by. But I had my head down looking at the phone because I was, texting my girl out loud and stuff when she was at. And I'm talking about, I barely passed this lady by like 2 seconds. She's like, "Oh, that's the punter for the Steelers. Press, what's up?"
Let's go.
She blew my whole cover. She blew my whole cover.
You ain't slick. You ain't had nobody with them shades on. We know that's you, Press.
But I kid you not. She was the most respectful lady I've ever heard with it. She was like, I ain't trying to blow you up. It's just me and my son. I just wanted to say hi. I just wishing you the best luck next year. We're trying to get this trophy and stuff back in the city. And it's just like, she never said anything about a punt that I hit that was bad. She ain't talking about the good ones that I had. And I felt like I was right in the community at that point. I didn't feel like I was just a football player because she noticed me. I felt like I was, a part of the community because, legit. I had on dark glasses and she definitely knew who I was. And that's not easy to do. But at the same time, I'm like, if I'm getting noticed like that, it's definitely for a good reason because I know it's not just from football. I'm pretty sure I've seen her son before somewhere. And I've done I can't remember what school it is over there, but I did a Boys and Girls Club event like last year when Kenny first got drafted. He was there. It was like the first event he did, and I was there with him. And it was like in the same area, and I'm pretty sure that kid might have been there. And he looked pretty familiar. But I was like, man, being able to know that from that kid and his mom, and that they have the same love for us is the same way that we have for them is something big for me. Because, I don't just try to give them a trophy. I try to get back in the community. We try to make the place a better place for everybody, not even just us. It's, for everybody, man. It's just out of love. So, that was a funny encounter yesterday. But I smiled about it right afterwards because I was like, man, I'm not starstruck because she knew who I was.
Right.
I noticed the kid. And that was the thing for me. And I was like, dang, that might have been him. It might not have, but I had that face still in my head and I haven't seen that kid over a year. And it's just, the outreach that I'm trying to have with the kids and why I'm doing this camp, because that was one thing that my dad really harped on too, was just, giving back to who's next. And that's exactly what I'm doing in this position right now. I think I'm the 5th black punter in NFL history. There's going to be another one after me. I know that for a fact.
Let's go.
But how can I make that easier for him? It's not always just about me. I know I'm not going to have it the easiest. I know whoever was before me didn't have it easiest. But, how can I make it better for everybody here and myself? Is all I care about and all I worry about every single day is just how can I make everybody better around me? I try to put a smile on everybody's face.
No, I like that, man.
Makes me want to be a better person.
I swear, man. I'm over here that's what I'm talking about, Press. We want to wrap that, put that as a motivational, man.
Bad.
Let's go, man.
You know how much energy it takes to lie? You know how much energy it takes to be a bad person?
Come on.
That takes a lot. That shit is tiring.
I love it, man. I love it. Let's go,
it's
man.
It's not hard to be a good person, man. Just spread the positivity.
Let's go, man. I love that, man. Now, speaking of positivity, you on the phone right now with 2 sneakerheads, all right? I have a sneaker.
I don't know if I put me there.
You getting in there. All right. So Deke is sneakerhead and training.
I got my game. It's up a little bit.
He's improved it. All right. Now, Press, I know you a sneakerhead. All right. I know how you gets down, baby. But we got to talk, man. Whenever I see you always check your shoes on, you always got some crazy heat. I know you just copy some new stuff. But if you could, man, what would you say is your favorite pair that you own in your collection, man?
Oh, man. I think I don't know what's the favorite one. I'll say it because, you got that favorite pair you wear, but you also got that favorite pair from like your childhood. So like, I basically got two. The shoes that I wear the most is the Travis Scott lows, the mochas or the fragments, or the Phantoms. The Phantoms are my favorite. I wear those the most, but
they're fire.
They're fire. But the mochas, the original ones, I wear those a lot too. So like those are like honestly always in my rotation. And they're just comfortable, and they're low top shoes. They're comfortable, they're light. I like them. But if it has to be like a childhood best shoe, if I'm being honest, I'm pretty sure it's the Black Toe 14.
Ooh,
and it took me a while to be able to find a pair of those.
Those are clean. Those are clean.
I never forget. Those shoes came out when I was in high school.
Those
they re-released.
Are clean. Yes.
I think it was like 2014 or 15 or something
14.
Like.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to have that tuxedo looking shoe.
Let's go, bro. Let's go. So,
and I
remember when those re-released, man. Those are fire. So I think of when they first came out. My pops, he had the candy canes. Back, I think this was big when I was like a little kid. Like Jordan was actually like wearing them. Yeah, so he had the candy canes. I went with the the iodized green. So yeah. But we used to like flip flop the shoes. But I remember when those dropped to 14. The same way you just looked and talked about them. That's how I felt. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get these. These are the ones right here, man.
That's a fact. Now I got a story about those green ones you're talking about.
Oh, talk to me, man. What you got?
So I got a pair from the last release, but I also got a pair. I think it's from like 1997.
The OG ones, yeah.
I got an OG pair. I can't wear them; they're not wearable. But I got the original receipt, original box, the postcard that came with it. I got I got all of it. And that like doing small stuff like that. I'm like, that shoe's older than me, and it's in the room. Yeah, and it's like that's a part of history. You can't find nothing like that. That's also why I got into shoes, man. Like I always wanted to be a sneakerhead growing up, but I was playing two sports at the time. It was in bands, so I didn't have a job. So when I told myself, when I get the opportunity to do it, I'm gonna do it the right way and get the pair. Every time I walk in the room now, I'm like, I don't even want all of these because I know I'm not gonna wear them. So, anybody with 11 and a half.
I was gonna say, do you wear your actual heat, or you just like I only wear certain shoes out the collection?
I wear more exclusive stuff than like more everyday stuff now. I got I got the UNC toes. I got those like 2 weeks ago. I got them unreleased.
Yeah.
And like I got a good relationship with a couple of different places too. Yeah. Like for example, Refresh PGH. I'm gonna shout my boys out.
Okay.
Refresh PGH out there on Penn Avenue. It's the best sneaker store in my opinion in the city. They have a lot of Jordan. They got Dunks, but they also sell a lot of streetwear stuff too. So they have Bape, Vlone, Supreme, Bear Bricks. They got Cause Dolls in there. All type of different stuff you can think of. And that was the place that I went to first when I got here. And, I went in a couple times my rookie year, didn't tell them who I was, only because, I'm new in the city, don't really know people like that. So, it took them like 2 or 3 times to recognize who I was. And, I mean, that friendship's been there ever since that. They're literally like my family away from home. That's like my safe haven. If anybody is in there during the season, if we're out of practice and stuff early or whatever, it's an off day, I'm definitely going to be in there most likely. And, I pop in there every now and then, and that's just my family away from family back home. And, that's like my little safe haven. So, shout out to them because they definitely helped me out on that room. I definitely helped out paying some mortgages too, but hey, everybody wins.
It's a dub across the board, man.
But and it's a mom and pop place. Sean and BJ are the 2 owners. Both of them Pittsburgh natives, went to the University of Pitt, and Sean's a season ticket holder, and every single time I go in there, he used to start rambling about Steeler football and all of it. He's pure fan, but you know what I'm talking like. Yeah. He's a pure fan, season ticket. I know exactly where his tickets are every game. I look for him every game. So like he has that mental capacity that he always wants to talk about sports and stuff like that, and that's cool. And that's a place where I feel like I can go. We have conversations about games, who's next in the season, stuff like that. What's going on next year? Who will be looking out to try to, really beat down next year like they beat us down in the season. Small stuff like that. But it started getting, when our relationship started getting way better and more, personal, the football stuff stopped a little bit. And, it doesn't even come up when I first get there anymore. If I'm there for 2 hours, then we might talk about it. And, that's something that I really respected because, he knows that's my job. And I know he's a diehard fan, but at the same time, he takes it out of respect that I don't always want to talk about my job. And, just being able to have people that, you're around enough to know that and, just get you out of that zone of just worrying about ball sometimes, because that can be a lot and tiring. But, I go there all the time, man, and that's just my family there. So, they opened up a shop in Atlanta not too long ago, a couple of months ago. I was there for that. For the grand opening of that, because I went to school in Atlanta too. Yeah. So, I put them on a couple of guys on the team and stuff like that, and people that I knew in the city, and just being able to see that outreach, because starting a business is hard. Like, I love shoes, but I also want to learn stuff. So, being able to learn the shoe business, being able to see how that looks starting out from the ground up, because that's exactly what they did. And just being able to see the journey other people go on in life and stuff, and what got them to where they are today too, and share my story with them too. That's all about. That's all this is about. So, that's my people over there. So if y'all ever want some fried kicks, Supreme, I'm talking about anything, they most likely got it in there. So just look them up. Go whenever y'all get a chance.
There it is. You heard what he said. Now I'm gonna tap in because I gotta see what's up. I gotta see what's up.
Whenever you ready, man.
I'm gonna pull up. So I do got a question there. How many shoes you got in your collection, man?
Oh, man. Thankfully, nobody knows where I live, so I can say this comfortably.
I'm about to say, what's your collection looking like, man? How many you got there, man? I tell you, I gotta ask.
Oh, man. So I'm going to do the quick math right quick. So I used to have the clear boxes, right, in my old spot. Uh-huh. When I moved over to where I am now, I changed over to bookcases. I'm going to send you a picture of it afterwards. Okay. But, each bookcase got 33 shoes on it. I got 7 bookcases in there.
Okay.
So, that's 231 right there.
Yeah. You getting after it. Let's go.
I'm pretty sure I'm close to like 250 though. I got a lot of them I can't put out. A lot of them still sitting in the box.
It's still adding to the collection though, right?
Yeah. Still adding.
There it is.
Still adding. But I got, man, a whole bunch of girls off my list, and at one point in time, I'm probably a part of way with a lot of those shoes. But it's just a journey, and it's something to keep me occupied, and it is history too. Like people look at shoes sometimes as oh man, like you wasted your money on the same pair of shoes.
No, it matters, man.
Different colors.
It's a story with each one, man. It's a personal connection with each one. Absolutely.
Yep. And not even just that, but it's also a stock.
Mm-hmm.
People don't look at the same, but the way the shoe market go today, the shoe market today, you can get 20 times as much as you paid for a shoe.
Absolutely. You cop something at retail or close to, and then you talk about the resale value on it, triple the price. Absolutely. Easy. Yeah.
And I try to tell myself and tell my mom that when I first got in the league, I'm like, all right, look now, I'm investing. All right, I'm investing in myself, but I told myself, man, my life's on my feet, and something that I always harped on was being able to have nice shoes. And other people might think nice shoes is designer Alexander McQueen's. Yeah. Some people think it's Gucci. Mine's is Jordans. Yeah. So
I'm with you on that.
That's it.
Hey, one of the things I live by, you got to treat yourself, baby. Got to treat yourself. All right, you got to treat yourself.
Yeah, that's a fact. It's got to.
All right, Prez, I got to go back to 2021.
Uh-oh.
The Browns game where we won it without Boswell in the second half. He got knocked out right before halftime.
Oh, God.
Okay. I gotta know what was going on behind the scenes here.
Yes.
Because we didn't kick any field goals or any extra points. How confident were you in yourself that you would have been able to make it? But what do you know of why we didn't? Was it because Ben would have been the holder? We didn't want to risk hitting his hand or something?
No, I would have. I definitely wouldn't have broken any of Ben's fingers, but I don't know where that ball was gonna go.
Okay.
And I'll be real.
You're being straight up
for a second. I'll be real for a second. The biggest thing about that game when that happened, immediately I got told, do not worry about kicking at all.
You did the kickoff though, right?
So
Yeah,
so
they
yeah,
have,
so
right?
kickoff was like the only thing I worried about. But like field goals and stuff, I was told I was out right off rip because like that you don't want to make anything bad worse. And I think that was like the biggest reason why we didn't. I was fully. I mean, we definitely had one on like the 2 yard line when Pat had that touchdown.
Yeah,
to
it was on
win the
4th down.
game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on the sideline talking to Cam Sutton because I mean, honestly, Cam's a damn good holder too. I was like, look, Cam, we're gonna do this thing if they look at us, all right? Because I can definitely make that. Like I'm not incapable at all. I got a better shot than anybody else, most likely. But I don't have on a professional level either. So I was, my last field goal attempt from that point was my senior year of high school, and that was my only one.
Oh wow!
So
now,
I didn't have much muscle memory to go off of that.
Now
but,
wait a minute.
I kicked off.
Hey, Press, I'm sure somebody out here that's saying, punting and kicking. You're kicking the ball. It can't be that different, right?
All right.
Just talk about it for him real quick. Can you give him that real quick? Because I know if somebody's listening saying, bro, if you could punt, why can't you kick?
Look. It is not the same thing. If it was the same thing, it would have the same name, and that's what I keep trying to tell people. Like you can't say, well, you kicking both of the balls. Well, yeah, but there's one that is much different than the other.
Inside linebacker versus outside linebacker. They both linebackers,
like
but they
everybody's
are
rules and principles, and fundamentals are different.
Yeah.
So it's different because as a punter, the ball's in my hand. It's never on the ground. If the ball's on the ground, it's not a good time.
Ooh.
So. If the ball, the ball never hits the ground when I have a ball in my hand. So, as a kicker, the ball is stationary on the ground. So sometimes also what people don't realize too is with that, you also have room for error. So the margin of error on a punt is way more than the margin of error on a kick, only because it's in the air. It has to fly through the air twice. The kick has to fly through the air once. So like it's all different. You hit the different spot on your foot. Your knees and everything are a different way. Boz is leaned off when he's hitting a field goal, but I'm standing straight up and crunched over trying to explode up through a football. So, way, way different. And sometimes you have kickers that do both kick and punt. Sometimes you got punters that can punt and kick off. Sometimes you got punters that just punt and hold like me. So, sometimes it just depends. And, that was one thing that we got into a situation real fast and, I didn't have much muscle memory to kick on for a kickoff. I haven't hit a kickoff at that point since like high school or a little bit in college. But, I never did it and never got coaching for it because I wasn't good at it. And, that was just one thing. Sometimes as a punter, you don't have that in your bag, but you never also think about the fact that your kicker's not going to be in the game. And in a college sense, you be fine. You got like two, three different kickers that dress.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like the fake call. We should have just taken the 3.
You ain't like the fake.
I didn't like that.
We put
balls in harm's way.
That's why honestly I love the NFL. Like I didn't really grow up watching NFL ball. I watched college. But the one thing I love about the NFL with that 53-man roster, when that run thin,
hey, get real.
There ain't nobody else to call on but what you got.
Seriously.
And that's in any position. So, we put our best foot forward and plan ahead of time before it happens. So, I've been getting my mental reps because I ain't doing no actual kicking off until I got to. But, I definitely did, learn my steps a little bit more and like, all right, let me figure this out. At least a little bit so I can get the ball down the field instead of kicking it out of bounds like I did the first time. But, hey, the second one was the kick inside the 20.
There it is. Perspective.
Yeah.
I
got another one here. Is there discussions about who is the GOAT punter amongst like punters? Or is that not a big deal?
I really think I don't know, man, because I haven't had this question before.
Okay. Shout out to Deke. Let's go.
So, I mean, I feel like as specialists in the NFL, like all of us on 32 teams right now, we definitely would say the GOAT is Ray Guy. He's the only guy that's in the Hall of Fame, and he's the most well-known punter that ever played. But I think that really also goes for eras too, or time periods as well.
Yeah, there was one list I looked at. They had Leckler.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was about to say because I mean, Ray Guy is the only guy in the Hall of Fame, but you got guys that also played in the league for a long time. Leckler was in the league for a long time. Thomas Morstead's still been in the league for a while.
Shout out my dog Brian Moorman as well, man. He was in the league for a long time too. You know what I'm saying?
He
He got
played for
some
a
years
while
in that
too.
thing, man.
Yeah. Then you got Sam Cooke that just retired.
Yeah, you're right.
In Baltimore not too long ago. He was there for like 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I really think it just depends on what type of GOAT you're talking about, because it's the same thing in football and basketball with the greatest player ever. You're gonna have it to where, you know, guys played for a long period of time. That doesn't make you the best because you didn't win as much championships and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm gonna have to look back at the numbers and get an answer for you who I think it is over like time periods of how long, you know, them playing too. But also you put into perspective, you know, the same thing with like extra points when that got moved back, and you know how that skewed everybody's numbers and all of that. Put into effect too about kicking. You know, I don't know how long the rules have been for NFL, but now the only two guys that can leave are the gunners. Everybody else has to stay in protection. And I know for a fact that I don't know if that was always like that. Same way the kickoff rule this year is going to be different than last year, and how it was different when you had a 10-yard head start 20 years ago.
The way they adjust these rules at times, I'm like, I get it, but man, as a guy who came in this league in 2010, it looks very, very different, man. Very, very different.
It's different, but you're also kind of thankful for it.
Yeah, no, seriously, man.
I wish you had some of these rules in effect too, because bro, that changed lives.
No, I was about to say it's gonna prolong dudes' careers to an extent, man, and just even on the back end when you're done playing, certain things you ain't gonna have to deal with.
I mean, I'm a big old dude at punter, but I'm definitely going to know everything at 45, 50 years old, you know, and that was one thing that I always told myself. I'm like, look, these looks might be a little deceiving, but hey, I made the smart decision. And, you know, that was one thing I'm like, if I get touched anytime, it's going to be a flag. You get coached not to touch me. So, you know, as long as the punt team in front of me, like everybody knows what they're doing, and we're all on one accord, we've never had that problem.
There it is.
All we're going to do is eat. So, you know, I mean, that was an interesting question, though, about who is the GOAT. Because I don't really...
Is it even a discussion?
I don't really know. I mean, in my opinion, I feel like it's not talked about enough. But in my opinion, I think the GOAT for me is Reggie Roby. And I'll tell you why. Because look him up after this. You'll see a guy bigger than me, number one, a little bit taller than me. His name is Reggie Roby. He played back in the early 2000s in the league, and this man could literally put his foot over his head. Like his knee was literally touching his face almost. And he was black.
That's elite level flexibility, man. Jeez.
Elite level flexibility.
Yeah.
And I mean, he has one of the most notorious fake punts I've ever seen. Like, so if you look his name up on YouTube, you'll see him fake a punt with his leg up in the air and just put the ball behind his back, take off running to the left.
That's crazy.
The craziest thing I've ever seen. But that's crazy. Like, he's a very, very big dude.
Okay, so one list got him at 7. I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. He was.
I'm looking at this picture. His knee is literally like staring right at his eyeballs. Like that's nuts.
Yes, he can see the ash on his kneecap. He looked hard enough.
That's how close crazy, man.
Yeah, bro. Like he was a freak of a punter, and like I looked at him like that because when I was growing up, when I was in high school, my high school coach actually gave me the nickname Lil Roby. So he was saying like I was a smaller, like younger version of Reggie Roby, and that always stuck with me because that was the first black punter that I actually was, introduced to.
That's dope, man.
That's my goal because I look like a modern day him, if you're being honest. And that's
you're right.
That's hard to do. I mean, the looks are one thing, but to be here and also be an African American punter just like he was 20 years ago. He paved the way for me. No, if it wasn't for him to go through what he went through, I would be where I am today. So, I feel like him, I can call Marquette my GOAT.
I was about to say, literally, Marquette. Man, when you started talking, I'm like, bro, Marquette, he was the one. He was swaggy as heck. I remember he dancing out there before he had punted, man. And then he started celebrating after the punts, man. I was like, yo, he on one. I like his guy. I like his game, though, man.
Yeah, man, that's my dog, man. Like that's my brother, and he was there for me because I mean a lot of people also don't know it, but I almost lost my mom when I was in high school.
Oh wow.
She wound up having a weird bleeding on her brain at work one day, and she was in ICU for I don't even know how long, man. It's like it took her. She couldn't walk, talk. She was saying full sentences in her head, 2 or 3 words was coming out. And she really had to relearn all of life over again. And at the same time, I'm 16 years old, and my dad's on dialysis, still sick. And it's just me, my dad, and my little brother in the house, and my grandma. And I'd had to grow up at a young age, so Marquette was there for me throughout that whole time because I was going through high school, going through these evaluation camps and stuff like that. I was ranked #1 in the nation at one point in my class. And he was at the next camp that I was supposed to go to, but we were going to go as a family. But my mom got sick, so I mean I had to go to Wisconsin to this camp by myself, with just me and my coach. So I mean my childhood, man, like I've been through a whole bunch, and at that moment, he was really the guy I looked up to because that was the only other black punter I had ever really known him out up to that point too, and. Like he had this one video he did when he was punting, and he shouted me out and my mom, told her to keep fighting and stuff. It was just small stuff like that he went out of his way because I haven't even met the guy at that point yet. And, he went out of his way and did that. And, it really helped my mom push through. He still calls my mom every blue moon, honestly. Dope, and I told myself, man, I'm like, look, like, outside of how long I want to play in this career, outside of, the game of football, man, you find real good people around you in sports. And like, I got a good support system that's real close to me, but I also got, a lot of people that I don't talk to every day, but I can pick up just like where I left off at. And, 2 years ago, I haven't talked to you in 2 years since COVID, but here we are, picked up right where we left off. And, you really get that from the game of football.
No, that's
from
facts.
Players you play with, from former players like Art Moat. Right now.
Hey now. I'm just glad,
and the guys that ain't even in the league yet. Like, it was a reason why, Marquette did that. And it wasn't because he was doing it for himself. He was trying to uplift somebody else.
It's a brotherhood.
And it's a brotherhood, man. Like in the specialist world, it's definitely a brotherhood because there ain't many of us. Like we got this camp coming up next month in Tennessee, in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, on the 18th and 19th, and just about every team at least have one specialist on the roster there.
Yeah. And
it's the time we compete always, but at the same time we break bread. We got a big old cabin we stay together with, and we all really get to understand and get to be there for each other because sometimes in the game of football you think they're the enemy. And, it's always been like that for, as long as I can remember, especially for me. I'm like, man, I got to be better than the other punter. But I had to flip that when I got here. I ain't going against him because we ain't on the same field at the same time. It's that returning. So, just small stuff like that I've been learning over the times. But at the same time, just being able to, have guys that's still around me that, I can text Marquette right now. He'll hit me right back and, pick up right where we left off. Yeah. And, there's plenty more people like that out there. But, I'm appreciative of it. And I'm thankful for where I am, because of guys like Marquette, because of guys like Rick, and plenty of other guys, and I got one I've been training with, his name's Cedric Oglesby, another African American kicker in the NFL. Wow, okay. He was honestly the reason why I got at Georgia Tech, and I didn't really get an opportunity to say this earlier. I kind of forgot about it, but now that I think about it, he is the reason why I went there. So, I was at a camp in Alabama for their specialist camp. One of them as a sophomore. Went in there to Saban's office. He told me, hey, we got J.K. Scott here. He's the best in the nation right now. We don't know how long he's going to be there because he could come out earlier. He could stay another year. I ain't never heard nothing back from him. But on that way back from that drive from Bama to South Carolina, we stopped in Atlanta. So Georgia Tech had their camp the second day right after Alabama's. I wound up winning that camp. And it was because Coach Oglesby was the coach that was, put through out of a third party thing because he owns his own kicking organization to help out with that camp. And since that point in time, he's helped me out tremendously while I wasn't being able to be with my other coach back home. And you know, he was a guy that also did exactly what I'm doing. So I'm like, who else to, you know, be able to get some help from, not even just with kicking, but also just life, being, you know, being able to, you know, say he was an NFL athlete, especially as a black punter or a black kicker, you know, it's tough. So there ain't many people you can talk to. Being able to have him there was a big help. And he got me to Tech. You know, if he didn't hit my mom and dad after that camp in Alabama, he'd have come through and stop, I probably wouldn't have been there.
That's crazy.
So, you know, life would have been different already all over again, man. So, you know, that's why I say I'm just appreciative of every little thing, even when I didn't feel like do it. My mom and my dad made me still go and do it sometimes because I definitely didn't want to do that camp. I was tired. And it was like a 6-hour drive back from Tuscaloosa to Atlanta, and then a 4.5-hour ride back from there. I'm like, man, come on, I'm ready to go home. But my future was right there. And, you know, in that moment when I didn't really feel like doing something, but that discipline took over and I was like, all right, I got to go do it. You know, that's the same thing I got to tell myself these days. You know, every day in the off season ain't going to be the best day. You're not going to have the most to do. Like, I really haven't done much all day today. But, you know, had a little accident with the kitchen sink. We got to clean that out and get that fixed. So that took my day today. But, you know, you still got to get that workout. You got to Peloton downstairs. I'm like, hey, I might be at the house because the plumber was here, but hey, I got to get a workout in. So, you know, just being able to, you know, use that discipline that I had at a younger age and just see where it took me today. You know, I'm appreciative of it, but, you know, just got to keep going because the road ain't narrow yet.
Nah, ain't that the truth, man? I like that, man. Now, I got one final one for you, man. And then after that, man, we'll be good. Because, you know, last time we was up here, we asked you about your welcome to the NFL moment because you was young. You know, you was still learning it. And that was cool. But now you're a little seasoned. You feel me? You've got a chance to experience the fun side of it and the not so fun side of it, you know?
Yeah.
So if you could, just, you know, what would you say has been the most challenging aspect of being a professional athlete? And what has been the aspect that you've enjoyed the most about being a professional athlete?
Yeah. I mean, the first one, I'm going to definitely say the biggest thing as a professional athlete getting used to is just the way of life. You know, you're in a public eye. You know, as a college athlete, you feel like you are, but not everything about you is public. You know, what we make every year is public.
Everything you get, yeah.
Everything
crazy,
about
man.
me is public. Yeah, like being able to live in the public eye, but also being able to still live a regular life is really hard. And, you know, I'm a punter, so I have a lot different perspective than Kenny does, than Najee does, than Landon does, or whoever else, Minka, whoever. You know, everybody, depending on what role you play on a team, honestly, is going to depend on how public you are. If you go out, how bombarded you're going to get. But, like, that was, you know, like I said earlier, with that lady and her son realizing who I was and stuff, you know, I got to kind of always have my, you know, always got to have my eyes in the back of my head. Got to watch your six a little bit because not everybody's always going to have the best intentions for you in a city. Like, and that's one thing that, you know, all of us try to take into consideration. And, you know, sometimes people might feel some type of way about that. You know, if we don't really want to sign this right here, you know, sometimes we just don't want to get caught up into that because we don't know, number one, who we're around, especially if we're by ourselves or with like one other person, because things happen so fast. I mean, like I don't even remember who it was, but I think it was a team for the Giants. They just had 2 people get robbed, like not too long. Absolutely. Yeah, like they had 2 players get robbed. The Browns, they had a night. Yeah, like it's a normal day in Pittsburgh, and I just go out somewhere one night having fun, and just me and my boys, and the next thing you know, something like that happens, and you can't think the same way as a normal person because I can't get into an altercation with you. If I do, I lose my job. 9 times out of 10, I'll rip these days. So, you know, I try to tell my girl that too sometimes. Like, we love going to Coopterville. That's our spot.
Shout out to Coopterville, bro. That's a vibe down there.
Yeah. That's the spot, man. I love that spot. Every single time we go, we always have a good time there. And, you know, one thing I really told myself when I first got into the league, I stayed here by myself my rookie year too. She was still in school. So I didn't really go out like that. But I really didn't do it because I never want to get into something with a fan while they're drunk at a bar. And the next thing you know, I'm in something.
That is also real. You know? Yes.
Like that. It's the real life stuff that sometimes fans don't take into account. Like if I get bombarded in public, first of all, I'm gonna take a little step back. You know, just try to figure out the scenario, situation. And, I try to be as cordial as possible. Like, I don't like saying no already anyways. So, if I don't want to do something in public, it's probably for a reason. I'm not a guy that's just going to be like, I'm selfless. I don't care about you. It's about me. I'm not like that. But everything I do, I put somebody else before I put myself first. Myself first. So, being able to go around the city and not have issues like that, and I'm gonna knock on wood, but being able to be in a city to where you are felt love, and this place is different because if we were in LA or something like that, it's completely different than it is in Pittsburgh. Just about everybody in this city knows about the team, knows everything about it, watches it every single Sunday, or they're in the stadium. So it's like the community here is tight, but I know a lot of places don't have it like that, especially bigger cities. So I am thankful for that. But the best moments of the league, definitely want to talk about that too.
Yeah.
I think honestly, my favorite and best moment so far has been that Atlanta game last year.
Okay.
So
that was a dot. That was a dot.
Yeah.
So
that was a great punt.
Backstory on that too. That was the first stadium I actually played in. That was my first game at Georgia Tech. I was a freshman. We were playing in the Chick-fil-A kickoff game against Tennessee at the time, and that was my first game in that same stadium. And I just told myself, look, I'm back home, and I know we played Charlotte too, but Atlanta was home for me. That's where I definitely want to move back to at some point in time. And that's really where I want to move. Yeah, man. Every day. Hey man, that's my place. That's my love outside of South Carolina. Yeah,
the A is
like I could tell you, man, like that game was so fun because I only had 2 reps on punting. I only had 1 open field and a pooch, but those were 2 critical plays. And that last one, that pooch punt, it was on the 40-yard line. I'm like, look, I got to put this inside. You only got a little bit of time left in this game. I'm like, where else would I want to be right now?
Yeah.
Than the city that made me the punter I am today, and in a situation with a team that also had dibs on me that overlooked me, and I'm in the same city.
Talk about it. You overlooked me, and I'm from the crib. Oh, baby!
Like I missed my draft call with Coach T. If you remember, I missed my draft call because Atlanta was on the phone. Like I'm like, dude,
wow,
I got to do something here, and that was a game that I also dedicated to my dad. That was my Claws, My Cleats game.
Yeah.
I wore some cleats for him with the American Kidney Fund because that's the place like he donated because he had kidney failure. So that was the place that he always donated and stuff like that to give back and try to figure out, stuff for him, but also for everybody else. And, I had his name and stuff on the cleats, and that happened. I got the cleats, I got the game ball and all of that from that. That was a special moment for me. Because that was growth, that was growth more than, just punting. That was growth for me because, I'm back in a very familiar place, but I'm doing the exact thing where I left off at in that city, making plays. And, doing it for my dad and his honor too for that day. I was already close to home. I had, I think, like 30-something tickets, 30-something people in the stands watching that game.
It's real like that.
And, being able to, I saw all my friends afterwards and stuff like that. Like, that was the game I felt like, man, I'm home. I got to the hotel. I ain't feel no nerves when I woke up the next day for the game. Nothing. It felt like a regular day back in college to me. And, I didn't get that for any other game I played so far. Yeah. And, that's definitely my most favorable moment.
No, I like that right there, man. So that's dope, though. That is dope, baby. That is dope. Well, shoot, man. That was all I had on my end, man. Did you got any left on your end?
I think we're good.
Man, Presley, bro.
You're
from
awesome,
the
bro.
heart,
Appreciate
man.
that.
Appreciate the heck out you taking some time to hop on with this, man.
Yeah, man.
And like I said, man, just share the stuff that you shared with us, man. From the heart. Definitely means a lot, man.
Yeah, that's no problem, man. Just hey, everybody out here listening, just go be something for somebody that's gonna make them have a smile on their face today. Just go do something for somebody that's out of your way, just to make somebody else be like, oh man, you thought about me. That really goes a long way. And, I just try to live my life every single day of, getting to whatever's next, I try to live my faith by God every single day and, just put myself in a position to where I can just help other people. That's what this NFL is really all about. That's why there is so much outreach stuff. That's why UFC fighters aren't in the community the same way, through their organization as it is through the NFL. The outreach is the same, Like we really can make a stride on things by just all coming to the same accord and just doing the right thing and just being a good person. It's not hard to be a good person. You really got to try to be a bad person. Like, trust me, it ain't.
Be good, be nice, be kind. It ain't hard. Just be nice.
It's really not. Just be nice, man. Just do. And get up and go do something if you're a kid too, man. This summer hot. And I know the air quality ain't good outside. I ain't been out there all day or yesterday, 2 days before that. But man, just get out, do something, educate yourself, learn something new, man. Just learn something new.
Let's go, man. Let's go. Well, like I said, man, appreciate you again, man. Y'all heard the positive words of encouragement right there on the back end, too, man. So with that being the case, man, we wish you nothing but the best going into this season, man. You enjoy Latrobe, man. I'm going to see you out there. I don't enjoy it the way that you enjoy it, but you enjoy Latrobe, man.
I'm going to try my hardest. I know that food going to get repetitive quick.
Ain't that the truth?
I'm going to enjoy it.
Ain't that the truth? My
it's
dog.
better to be at home.
Big facts. Nah, but appreciate you again, bro.
For sure, man. Appreciate y'all too, fellas.
Appreciate it. Peace.